It's our last show of 2025. Unless the Rangers do something big, and then we'll have an emergency podcast. I'm not saying they will. We're not predicting anything. We're just saying if they do, we'll be there. If they don't, Happy New Year! Our last show of the year. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, so that's the goal. We've talked about it really since probably the middle of last season, maybe even the second 2/3 of the season last year, how to fix this offense. And that is the goal, the process, the plan. It's what's being done this offseason. At least the Rangers front office hopes so. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. Jeff Wilson. They're our last show of 2025, but fear not. We'll be back in 2026. I promise you. Kat's here, too. The Queen's back with us, so we're glad to have her. We have just been an efficient machine today, and so we presume that the show will be exactly the same. We appreciate you already being in the chat, and we always appreciate opinions, hot opinions, to start us off, like Ethan. The offensive fix is not on this current roster. And I say, Jeff, as I was kind of wading back through the interview that I did with Justin Veely, and I can't remember if you were a part of that one or you might have done one on your own.
Yeah.
When we got together with the coaches. In any event, Justin Veely begs to differ. Justin believes the fix is on this team.
Well, yeah, he better be right because they're not going to sign any of the big hitters, and there's the talent that's on the roster. There are guys, Jake Berger has a 30 homer season in his career.
Right.
Jock Peterson's been an all-star. Josh Young was an all-star and an 8th overall pick in the future of the franchise. So those are talented guys, and they need to be better. That's just the bottom line. Corey Seager needs to stay healthy the whole year. Brandon Nimmo needs to remain a productive player in a new league, new team. The catchers need to hit. So, yeah, you look at the roster. The Rangers can field a team. Josh Smith. Let's not forget about Josh Smith. Wyatt Langford needs to get better. Evan Carter needs to be healthy. So there is a talent on this team for this offense to be good. It looks like a little change in philosophy.
That's it.
Is at the crux of this turnaround, and maybe it started with Brett Boone. At least the mindset thing. Justin Veely seems to have, I don't ever think he was against it.
No. But he's all in.
Yeah, and the manager is too. And look, it starts with the manager. And if the manager is telling you to do something, well, players, he's your boss.
Sure.
And
sure,
we'll have a lot of
coaches,
a lot of input about how much you are part of this new offensive philosophy.
Yeah, and so Justin Veely's direct quote to me was, he wants these guys to, now we start the quote, grind pitchers down a little bit more. When the ball is not flying and you can't rely on slug, it's got to be a mentality shift of like, we can't let that affect who we are, right? And that's what really we've been saying. That's what Brett Boone was saying. That's what Chris Young has been saying. And look, I know that's absolutely what Bruce Bochy said, right? Yeah. At various times throughout the course of the season. But the reality is this is now something that is being ingrained in those guys from basically October 1, Jeff, through the beginning of spring training, and then it'll be a focus through spring training. And hopefully that 6-month-ish period of reorienting your approach at the plate. There's no better way to say it. Reorienting it. Hopefully this all takes, right?
Yeah.
It's not automatic, but I think it's obviously something all of them can accomplish and can learn.
Yeah. And as my conversation with Justin Bewley, he said they want to be diverse. They want to be able to, if it's a 3-game series and they pull off a sweep, they want to be able to win 3 different ways, offensively, slug, on base, and then just grinding out a 3-2 win with tough at bats and doing what the game tells you to do. And I think that to the young player, a lot of that is not necessarily a foreign concept, but not one that they're fluent in. They understand, and their agents understand that ground balls to second base to get a runner to third don't necessarily help with the paycheck. And that's, honestly, that's one of the factors here. These guys want to hit home runs and get the ball in the gap and put up these big numbers so that when free agency comes, they're very, very attractive. But, teams like winners, and they like good teammates too. And that's part of the equation. And so doing what the game asks you to do to help your team win, that should be the priority. And I think Skip Schumacher and his assistants are going to emphasize that. And, a couple veteran guys need to emphasize that.
Sure.
And take the mantle, carry it. I'll never forget, in a spring training game. I'm dating myself, but probably 15 years ago. Roughly. Michael Young hit a ground ball to second base in a spring training game.
Yeah.
Got the runner to third.
Yeah.
And he came to the dugout and everybody was high-fiving the guy.
Yep.
Because he had just done what the game was asking him to do. And I tell you what, that's lost. And really the only guys who understand it are the veteran guys. They're the ones who get most excited about it and realize that the batter just did a job. And it wasn't an RBI single, but he's got the team in position now to score a run at least.
Yes. And that's another thing that Justin talked about was this idea of, when I was speaking to him, this idea of a productive at-bat, right? You can have that was a productive at-bat by Michael Young. This one isn't necessarily productive, but you don't want it to be destructive, right? The other way, the opposite of productive is destructive. And Justin was talking about guys, didn't name names in this case, but he was talking about guys last year who would hit the ball great, barrel it up, and right at somebody in one of the outfield positions. And he said they would carry that with them for the next 10 at-bats. Right?
Right.
You have to have, that's the harder one to learn. You have to have that short memory, right?
Yeah.
You have to completely forget about that, completely wash that. And certainly any of us who have played golf poorly or to whatever level we do know that, right? When Jeff and I played with Colby Lewis in the Do It for Durrett Open, there was one time I got up on that tee box and hit it like right there, like 20 yards. And Jeff goes, "Oh, stop it. Hit another one." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Thank you." Like we're playing like that. Colby's like, "Heck yes, we are." And I striped it right down, right? So but you have to forget that.
Yeah.
You can't carry that with you, or the next one's going to go straight over there, right? You have to be able to release it. And that was the thing he was talking about too. And that's not necessarily, that wasn't necessarily a productive out, but it became a destructive out.
If you get in the box and you barrel a ball, you've had a good at bat.
Yeah.
If it results in an out, which it's going to a lot of the time, it's still a good at bat. Shin-Soo Choo, who we're going to talk about here a little bit later, everybody notes his on base ability, but Choo was looking for his pitch, and if he hit it hard, even if it was a line out or a hard ground out, or somebody made a nice play in the gap and it took a hit away, he still was like, "Hey, I did my job. I had a good at bat," and put it behind him and went on to the next one. So I think that's part of the reason too. I mean, we've said it many times. Baseball is a game of failure. the pitchers are going to, win 70% of the time, more than that nowadays, because we only had 300 hitters in the game last year.
Yeah.
So, or 8, whatever. So they're going to win 75 to 80% of the time. Okay. But if you hit it hard and do that consistently, balls are going to fall in and you're going to have more success. And that's a good at bat. And guys have to realize that. And it could be on the very first pitch of an at bat. Okay, great. It could be on the 8th pitch of an at bat. But the fact of the matter is, if you hit the ball hard and make it out, you're doing your job. Now, and you should feel good about it. Shouldn't let it hang over your head. And if you ground out to second base and move the guy over, hey, that's a good at bat too. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad you didn't get the run home.
Yeah.
Feel good that you did you did the bare minimum.
Yeah. No, and
that's fine.
Rangers fan Alex has a good suggestion there, because again, I think that, as much as they would probably say, "Oh, no, we don't care at all about that," younger players today do care about analytics, right?
Yeah.
So if there was an analytic that specifically addressed, and it'd probably have to be more than one analytic, but specifically address a productive at bat, then that might help players in this day and age to realize, A, oh, wow, that was a good at bat, but B, also it would give them sort of another number to share in their favor, Jeff, when it comes to contracts and things like that.
Well, and I like it. Let's invent it and make a lot of money off of it, or at least get some notoriety. I don't know how much money you're going to make.
Well, if we could make an app.
Well, like John Lowe, the great baseball writer, invented the quality start. I don't know that John got rich off of it, but
no,
it's
I saw John this summer.
That's really used, And then Cordero grinding the at bat is good too. The best at bat in Rangers history, you could argue, was Nathaniel Lowe in Game 3 of the 2023 ALDS against the Orioles. It was the first at bat of the inning, and maybe 15? It was the second. It was 15 pitches. Yeah. He fouled off 9 pitches, 10 pitches, 11 pitches in a row, and he ended up lining out to left field. All right. The pitcher at the time, and I don't remember for the Orioles, was exhausted. The players in the dugout could see him. He was breathing heavily. There's no pitch. He has the pitch clock, so he couldn't walk around the mound and catch his breath. The pitching coach didn't go and visit, and the inning fell apart. It was the inning of the game, and the Rangers ended up, I think Adolis hit a home run in the inning. Yeah. Rangers end up winning and going to the ALCS. That was a massive at bat, and it was an out. You can do a lot of good making an out.
Yep, you absolutely can. And Cordero, to your point about grinding, that's exactly what, if you may have missed it at the beginning, what Justin Veely was saying they want to do: grind pitchers down, right? They want to have those kind of at-bats. One of the reasons the Yankees and the Red Sox were so hard to play against in some of their heydays in the aughts and then into the teens, I suppose, was because they had hitters who did just that. It's also one of the reasons that their games lasted 4 hours.
Right.
Now, thank God we have a pitch clock, because even if you grind a pitcher, grind, you still can't grind him to the point that it's going to be a 4-hour game. Now it would be like, oh man, it was a 3-hour game,
right?
But both those teams, and as a guy who was doing post-game shows for all those years, we knew Yankees or Red Sox, we're going to have a 4-hour. Our post-game show is going to start about 4 hours after the pregame show ended. That's just how it's going to happen.
Right.
So yes, that's a thing. They need to absolutely focus on that. Veely said to me, point blank, we can't just rely on home runs to win games. And he's right, of course. I mean, everybody knows that. And yet there were years and years of Ranger teams, I think, Jeff, that did that just relied on home runs to win games.
You're not wrong. And,
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how all of this comes into fruition. And I think the park factors are now, the Rangers have said, they've been different all 5 years. We've played games in Globe Life Field. I think they're now leaning toward it being a pitcher's park, and that has a lot to do with it as well. And to answer Gallagher champ. Pitches per plate appearance, the Texas Rangers had 3.88, which was actually slightly above league average. The league leaders were the Atlanta Braves, or the MLB leaders were the Braves and the Yankees at 3.96.
Which doesn't sound like a big difference.
It doesn't,
but it is.
Yeah.
That's minuscule, seemingly, but there's a lot to that. So, and park factors is where we go next. Also, we continue to talk through the Hall of Fame. I saw Leon asking, and then discovering that Jeff had his ballot in, but we'll talk about Jeff's ballot too. Next, though, park factors, and we'll dive a little bit more into that. It also is some of the stuff that Justin Veely was talking about next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Right after the show, I am headed to Wild Fork Foods. Oh, yes, I am, Jeff, one of my favorite, and I know your favorite places to go as well. I'm going there to get some New Year's Eve fare. And I believe that what we will be having for New Year's Eve, or maybe New Year's Day, I haven't decided yet, Jeff, it's going to be that skirt steak in the outside skirt steak in the chimichurri.
Oh, yeah, that's solid option.
Moly, that's good. And, of course, I've got to always, every time I go, I get the garlic bread. And I'll get a couple of packages of the garlic bread. And you know what? Last time one of the crews was there, they brought back some wings that were made there. I'm going to try the wings on my own.
Okay.
And hopefully I can cook them as well as Wild Fork can. It won't matter if I can't, because the thing is, Wild Fork Foods people will tell you how to do it while you're there. It's a fantastic place. They have all these wonderful things to eat. It's one of our favorites, and I'm going there today. Wild Fork Foods.
And this episode is brought to you by our friends at Qualis Roofing. The leaders in roofing in North Texas. Just go to do a little Google search. You'll see they have like 700 5-star reviews. Amazing. Like an average rating of 4.9. So whoever gave them a 4, shame on you. But these guys are great. And here's the deal. If you've been in a house in this area for, let's say, 5 to 10 years, you probably need a new roof. Sure. Just with all the hail and such that comes along with it. The Wilsons have that already on their 2026 to-do list, and we're going to call Qualis or go to qualisgc.com to get help from them. If we just schedule an estimate or an evaluation, free DLLS shirt, and if they do our roof work, we get the choice of a free Traeger smoker or Blackstone grill. Doesn't get any better than that. They're local, and they should be your favorites. So go to qualisgc.com, QUALISGC.com.
So, yeah, we're talking about various aspects of fixing this offense and doing a slightly deeper dive than normal, and frankly, a slightly deeper dive than you get most places. But that's what we do here on the DLLS Rangers podcast with me, John Radigan, and Jeff Wilson. The Queen, none of it possible without Kat over there. So we love having you chat with us, challenge us, ask questions, and we ask you to keep doing that today. And then, of course, in 2026 as well. We'll be back Friday after the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day holidays. We will be back celebrating the new year with you. I'm told the Cowboys just had, I think it may be done now, but they just had a quick emergency pod. Jeff, big news happening over there in Cowboy land.
Yeah, not a good day, as you were saying, for the Diggs family.
Yeah, Mama Diggs, not a happy woman today, I'll tell you that. So.
Well, Trayvon is gone, so
no, Stephon,
I think that might probably make people
trouble.
Happy.
Yeah.
Stephon might be going to the big house. So
yeah. And that's not Michigan Stadium. That's someplace else.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, back to our park factors, because that chat or that quote that I mentioned from Justin Veely actually was in response to a question about park factors or park effects, and that one about grind pitchers down a little bit more and know that you don't have to hit the ball out of the ballpark in order to succeed or in order to score runs. And you know what? Some days you will and some days you won't. But the park effects have been discussed and studied, I don't know for how many years, Jeff, but certainly for every year.
A lot of years.
Yeah, and for every year since this ballpark has been that we've been playing in this ballpark, they do a deep dive, a very serious study at the end of every year. And the one question in the chat, how Can it be different every year? Janet wonders. Please explain how park factors can change from year to year. It's strange. I mean,
especially with the roof.
Especially with a roof. Now, they do change significantly with the ability to open that roof. We just don't open it that often, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it has a tremendous effect.
I think first of all, the Rangers, the sample size is very, very small, and that's kind of what Ross and CY were alluding to at the end of the season. But it sure seems like it doesn't matter to some teams. So I think that, when you talk about park factors and all that stuff, I really, you got to include how a team pitches, how a team is performing offensively. I mean, and that's kind of my big question. Like, the Rangers were so good,
right, as
pitching this year.
Yeah.
How much of that was them? How much of the lack of runs being scored at Globe Life Field was Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi? And how much of it was Adolis Garcia and Jonah Heim? Right. So I don't have a very good answer to your question, and I actually have the same question myself. But it would seem that at this juncture, after 5 seasons, that things are trending toward Pitchers Park. I don't want to bring in any fences there, McJowers. That's just fine. We don't want to be like the Mariners and give up on attempting to be good hitters. I just think that as things stand right now, this is the best information the Rangers have.
Right.
And they're going on the latest and the trend. But again, I do wonder, if the Rangers didn't have the best ERA and the staff capable of doing that, what would the park factors have been?
Right. And if you look at, I think it's the StatCast ones in Baseball Savant, from 23 through 25, the Rangers were 22nd so like there's 28 ranked. Why is there only 28 ranked? I don't know. Out of the 28 ranked, they were 22nd in the most difficult part to hit, right? with T-Mobile being 28th. And I'm not sure why there's not 30. Oh, maybe.
But the 23 team led baseball in runs scored. Right.
Yes. So
I don't think they did it all on the road.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
And but to your point, Jeff, in 2025, the 2 hardest places to create offense in Major League Baseball were T-Mobile Park and Globe Life Field. Mm-hmm. Now, how much of that had to do with the fact that the Rangers had pitchers that were essentially unhittable this year, had the best ERA in baseball, and that the Rangers had an offense that couldn't hit this year, right? And so every team that was trying to hit here couldn't hit.
And the Mariners pitch pretty well, too.
They do.
So, but I mean, now T-Mobile, Safeco, whatever you want to call it, has always been a pitcher's park, always. And it's because, when they close the roof, it doesn't matter. The wind is still blowing in. And that's the thing. The wind never blows out there. So I think that's just something that helps. And when they do have the roof open, the ball, it seems to me, and I have no statistical evidence to back this up, it just seems like the ball does travel a little bit more when the roof's open. But again, it's not open a lot. Because there's always the threat of rain. They may start a game with it open and then close that thing, and but the wind always is blowing in. They don't have windows like the Milwaukee that open and close. It's just straight air blowing in. It really is just a slab coming across the field.
Yeah. So
it's the coldest place in the majors too.
Yeah, it's very, very cold.
Hate it.
And year round. Yeah, year round.
I like the ballpark. I don't like the weather.
Yeah. Year round. And good point. Who brought it? Oh, McJowers. Yeah, the 2 teams played in minor league stadiums, which is why they don't appear. Tampa Bay and the A's do not appear on this list because of their minor league ballpark. That's why there's only 28. In any event, there you have the Rangers. And a lot of you guys, I know in the chat, are more into some of the analytics than I am. Jeff, I learned something today.
Oh, what's that?
Bacon.
Oh yeah, I've seen bacon. It makes me hungry.
I love.
I don't know what it
bacon.
is though.
You have me at bacon, right? I love bacon. Did you know it's a stat, an analytic stat?
I mean, I've seen it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's batting average on contact.
Oh,
Batting average on balls contacted. But I looked at that, and I was doing some work this morning. I looked at that and said, bacon? And I took a break and had breakfast.
why do you need the O-N? Is there a stat that's called back?
Well, you also have X bacon.
Well,
yeah.
got to watch out for that X.
I was going to say, X bacon, you may not want to have a part of X bacon. It used to be bacon. Now what is it? It's X bacon. So anyway, there you go. Bacon. We all know what that is now. And I don't know why, the extra batting average on contact. Yeah, it could be bake. But, you might as well have bacon.
Yeah, and boy, I still don't like the expected stat, but
I don't either.
A lot of teams do, including the Rangers.
Yeah, they do. They do. So anyway, that's a definite factor for all teams and for the Rangers. And at the GM meetings in Vegas this year, I spoke to both Ross and to CY about it, and they talked at length about how sort of everything is in play. And I think Ross was being a little bit more sort of generic, if you will, about it. Or, yes, we're open-minded. He was just trying to express his open-mindedness and suggested that they would even consider changing the dimensions, to McJower's point. CY says that's never been discussed, and we have no intention of discussing it. And I believe that, I believe they haven't discussed that. And, and CY is Ross's boss, right? Yeah. Everybody has a boss. CY is Ross's boss. So to the extent that is that is true, I don't think that these dimensions of this ballpark are going to change anytime soon. It is what it is, and they built a great ballpark. It seemed at the very beginning like it was going to be a pitcher's ballpark.
Yeah.
And then here came Corey Seager and the rest of the Dodgers in 2020 and had a National League Championship Series and a World Series here.
Randy Arozarena, too. He had a hell of a World Series.
Yes, Arozarena, too. And they hit the crap out of the ball. And they go, well, maybe it's not such a pitcher's park, right? But I think ultimately, from the get-go, it felt like this was going to be a pitcher's park. And I think it is. And this year may have, sort of demonstrated that.
Well, I know this park was built before Chris Young took over, but I'm sure Chris Young would like it to be a pitcher's park.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Any pitcher would, right? And in some ways, the other one, Tool Shed, somebody, or are they calling this one the Tool Shed? Is this one the Tool Shed?
Well, it's kind of got. This is the Tool Shed. It's kind of got.
It kind of looks like a tool shed.
Roof.
I get that. Okay. Anyway, the other one, which I loved, and don't ever call that a tool shed. It was a hitter's park.
Right.
It was
for various reasons, including the jet stream.
The jet
coming
stream.
In from right field, circling around.
Yeah. So, they have what's the word? Characteristics. All of these parks have characteristics. Wrigley Field, for all the years on that bacon list over here, Wrigley's still low on. Wrigley's 25 out of the 28.
Well, it says like half the first half of the season, the wind's always blowing in off the lake.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then for 2 months, it blows out.
Yeah. As much as everybody loves Petco and Oracle, especially Oracle, which is the Giants' home, used to be
pitcher's parks.
Yeah. They're pitchers.
Although I think San Diego is trending to
back
be a little more hitter friendly, but still not, Coors Field.
No, and I was going to say,
Stadium.
And the two best are Coors Field and Fenway Park.
Yeah,
right. Because Fenway Park, you can basically bunt it out in left field. If you pop that bunt up a little too much, you bunt it out. So I didn't realize Great American Ballpark. The top five.
Cincinnati. You can hit the ball out there. It's a big
Angel Stadium's a little surprising too. It's sixth, only because at night when it gets kind of damp and heavy and stuff, it's tougher to get the ball out. And
it's 6 from the bottom or 6 from the sixth. Oh, you're saying it's number 6.
Number 6.
And they've made the right field home run thing
a
little bit easier.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is interesting, by the way, Rarities, to see Kirby Yates sign with the Angels. We'll talk about that in our cleanup segment. That's coming up here in just a couple of seconds. But first, we'll get to Jeff's Hall of Fame ballot. That's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's DLLS supporters time. Supporters Club, which has been around for, almost a full year now. Look at that. We started way back in 25. And it's almost 26 now. So we'd love to have you be a part of our Supporters Club and get the official Supporters Club badge. There are emojis available. We really got to work on getting some Rangers emojis up in there, and we will work on that. But it's cool. There's lots of fun stuff there that allows you to see who we are behind the scenes sometimes. It sounds like all you really had to do was to have watched that Cowboys Emergency podcast to see some of who Clarence is, which is somewhat scary at times. But anyway, that's available too. We all do it. We all have these behind-the-scenes videos. The skipper did a great one with Jeff at the winter meetings. If you haven't yet, go check that out. And to do that, all you got to do is join the Supporters Club.
That's right. And also, we want you to join our newsletter list because it's free and it's just like a huge reader-friendly thing that you get every day right in your old inbox. And Ali does a great job giving you the vignettes and the nuts and bolts of what's happening with our teams. And then he's not shy about throwing in some opinions, hot sports opinions, especially about the Cowboys because he's on the Cowboys beat. And he'll mix in some other stuff, making fun of, Skip Bayless or stuff like that. It's so easy to do. You go to our homepage, alldls.com.
Oh, I thought you meant make fun of Skip Bayless. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Anyway, signing up is easy. Signing up to get the newsletter is easy. alldls.com. Go to the bottom, little blank box there, enter your email address, hit submit, and voila, you will start getting that email. And there you go.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really fun to read, and it's really fun to be a part of. So, become an email subscriber. So, Jeff has fulfilled his obligation as a 10-plus year member of the Baseball Writers Association of America, and he has filled out his ballot. Do you guys get in trouble if you don't fill one out? No. Okay. So it's if you just
I've never not done it.
But if you just pass, nobody's mad.
Yeah, and I don't know if it can. I mean, if it's not submitted, it just doesn't go into the total. Now, some people have submitted blank ballots in the past.
Yeah,
that was a popular thing to do during the Bonds and Clemens era when they were on the ballot. Pretty silly, if you ask me.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
So anyway, the ballots have to be postmarked tomorrow. So I went ahead and took care of it last week. It had just been sitting there on my desk. And I really thought that this year's was a really easy opportunity to have a little fun with it and to kind of, as voting changes and as thoughts about players and what's Hall of Fame worthy changes, some guys you need to help keep on the ballot, and so that's kind of the crux of what was with my non-carryover votes. I think I had 4 openings, maybe 5 to play with, and so I posted the story. It's free. It's at alldls.com. Anywho, and I like to say these things in alphabetical order. I'm a big fan of the alphabet, and that's how they are listed on the ballot. So my 10 were Bobby Abreu, Carlos Beltran, Shin-Soo Choo, Felix Hernandez, Andrew Jones, Dustin Pedroia, Andy Pettit, Francisco Rodriguez, Jimmy Rollins, and Chase Utley. The carryovers for me, or how about, we'll do new to the ballot. The new to the ballot for me were Beltran, Choo, Pedroia, and Pettit. So there you go. That's my ballot, and we will discuss.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yeah, let's discuss.
Well, before we get going, though, I'll talk about why I voted for Shin-Soo Choo.
Yes.
throwing out that he's a hell of a guy. One of my favorites ever. Shin-Soo Choo, when you look at the history of players from Korea, Shin-Soo Choo is a pioneer, kind of a trailblazer. He signed as an amateur, something that a lot of guys from Asia don't do. He went through the minor leagues for a long time, battled his butt off. Didn't know the language. He was like alone. Kind of some depression there. But he became a major leaguer. He's the most successful position player from Korea. Best player from Korea. If you want to include the pitchers too, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best. And at some point, a player from Korea will make the Hall of Fame. And in his acceptance speech, he is going to cite the impact that Shin-Soo Choo made. When Choo was done with the majors 2020, he went and played in Korea where he'd never played before, and he was a hero there. This last season, his last season of playing, he played without a salary. He donated the salary or whatever it was. He just wanted to do a farewell tour. Just a generous human being, in 2020, because of the struggles that he had in his career in the minor leagues. When there was no minor leagues, he gave every Rangers minor leaguer $1,000 just to help him, get through the rough months without having a salary. He was a pretty good darn player too. He was only an All-Star once, but he had a career 824 OPS.
Sure.
It's pretty darn solid.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't expect Shin-Soo Choo to ever make the Hall of Fame. I don't think that he will get 5% of the vote and be on the ballot next year.
I don't either.
But when you consider baseball history and all aspects of it, and now with the influx of players every year from Japan and Korea, Shin-Soo Choo's mark on the game is being the most successful player from Korea, and I thought that was worthy of a check mark on a year in which the ballot's pretty light.
Yes.
Because the newcomers, there's no Hall of Famers. And so I had a chance to do that, and I did it.
Although, and I agree with you, except is this Cole Hamels' first year?
This was Hamels' first year, yes.
So and was it also Burley's first?
No.
Okay. I believe Cole Hamels does have a shot.
At 5%, yes. Do you think he has a shot at the Hall of Fame?
Never at the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I think he might. I mean, he accomplished a lot, and again, he did a lot of it out east.
Yeah.
Which doesn't hurt your ballot.
Right, Philly.
Hall of Fame ballot chances, right? And when you accomplish things out there, I just think there are more writers, more voters, more everything out there. And I actually did hear a brief discussion about it on MLB radio today, and I thought this was a pretty good description. And this particular, it was a voter who writes for The Athletic out there somewhere, and he was saying he's like you. He doesn't think that Burley or Cole Hamels should be in the Hall of Fame, but he thinks they both will get in someday because of the demise of the starting pitcher, for lack of a better way, or how that it's kind of going out of fashion, right? Yeah. He puts them, and I thought this was a pretty good comparison. He puts them, those two guys in particular, in the same category with, the Dwight Goodens, the Dave Steebs, the Brett Saberhagens, the Oral Hersheisers of the world. All guys who you would say, if you were a manager, look, I'd be happy to call any of those guys my ace, and I'll be happy to send him out there, for the game I need one.
Yeah.
No, but that doesn't necessarily make you a Hall of Famer. However, I think those guys, just as the whole idea of the starting pitcher devolves, those guys are becoming more rare.
No, I agree with that, and that's the how to evaluate players is changing.
Yes.
And it, it used to be 500 homers automatic, and it probably still is, but if you were a big power guy, you had a really good chance of it.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, batting average, okay, oh, he only hit 270 for his career. Well, screw him. But, that all this is changing, and you're right. There's not going to be any 300-game winners.
No.
Right? I mean,
No.
it's not happening.
Not even close.
Yeah. So, anywho.
I mean, even Verlander.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean,
Verlander gets in.
Yeah.
He's not going to get to 300.
Oh, yeah, he'll get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not getting. I don't think he's getting 300 unless he's, pitching Nolan. Even if he pitched Nolan Ryan, what is he? 43 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have to have some really productive seasons.
He'd have some pretty good years.
What somebody maybe it was I just saw. I don't understand voting for fringe players. Well, a lot of it is because things are changing. And what makes a Hall of Famer, what made a Hall of Famer 20 years ago, probably still applies today, but what might have eliminated guys 20 years ago doesn't mean they're not, with the new stats and the advent of analytics and all that, doesn't mean they're not Hall of Famers now. Like a fringe guy to me is Jimmy Rollins, though he won an MVP.
Sure. Yeah.
But when you kind of look at what was his impact, he's one of the best shortstops in the game for an extended period. And I'm a big believer in being great at your position. Dustin Pedroia, he's kind of like a Don Mattingly arch.
You had him on your ballot, right?
I did check him this year. I didn't last year.
Yeah.
He's kind of like like I said, a Don Mattingly arch. He was so great, not home run wise. He won an MVP. You look at his years from, let's say, 08 to 12 or 13, fantastic.
Yes.
Dominant at his position,
right.
And then injuries, shortened his career. Felix Hernandez, when you think of great pitchers of the 2010s, Felix Hernandez kind of pops in my mind from, let's say, 07 to 15. Fantastic.
I would say maybe the best pitcher in the game for those years.
At times.
Yeah.
Andrew Jones needs to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right? That's ridiculous. Francisco Rodriguez as closers.
Closers have trouble getting in.
As badly as Rangers fans want closers, and all teams want a great closer. Francisco Rodriguez was a great closer.
Mm-hmm.
Close on a World Series team. I think he still holds the single season records for saves. He has over 400 saves, which is pretty much
usually the number.
The number here. So, but it's tougher. It's a tougher battle for those guys.
Always tough for closers. That's Billy Wagner, who went to his last year of eligibility last year and finally got in.
Andy Pettitte, and this one might rankle some feathers. So, Andy Pettitte was a fixture on those great Yankees teams, right? That's absolutely a guy who you wanted on the mound in the postseason,
and a couple of really good Astros teams.
Yeah,
right?
And he, later admitted after his career was over that twice he used PEDs while coming off of injuries. Human growth hormone at the time was not banned, and Andy Pettitte never tested positive, so he's okay in my book. Manny Ramirez and Alex Rodriguez both failed tests after testing was implemented. They're out. What's the difference? Baseball profited, and the Hall of Fame profited off of, and I've said this before, profited off of the backs of the steroid guys and the steroids era. I mean, the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire chase, which helped revitalize interest in baseball.
Totally.
And we know Mark McGwire's admitted to it, but he never tested positive. Baseball made money on his back and his extremely broad shoulders. And
he's not getting
he never
in
failed
either.
a test, and he's not getting in. But in my mind, if baseball made money off of him, then he should be able to be in the Hall of Fame.
So
I did.
You voted for him, and did you have a chance?
I never had a chance.
Did you have a chance to vote for? Have you had a chance?
I voted for Clemens.
Sosa?
I voted for Bonds. I never voted for Sosa, though. I didn't think Sosa was
600 home runs.
I know, but kind of look at his numbers, and I just had a problem with Sammy Sosa.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, so that's my explanation on that. If you failed the test, you're out. If you didn't fail a test and baseball made money off of you, you're okay with me. Yeah, Bonds never tested positive. I voted for Bonds. Every year I had a chance.
Yep. Yeah, I do love that you have a sort of a strong line of demarcation, right? Which is if you failed a test.
Yeah.
After testing was implemented, right? Yeah. I don't love this sort of just crazy, random, because look, there were a lot of players in that era who were doing steroids, right? Maybe all of them, most of them. and some of them have gotten into the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
and others haven't. And that random, really injustice to me, I don't like.
Yeah.
And-
And that's just it. I mean, you can kind of you can find guys, I'm not going to name any names, who I think are probably did it because they were fledgling, like pitchers especially, fledgling and out of the league, and their career's about to be over, and all of a sudden they come back the next offseason throwing 95.
Yeah.
And then the next year they get a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how did that happen? So there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's good. That's a great explanation. I love the fact that you do have that very definitive line, and you don't intend to cross it. So very consistent. And I also love any of the guys, and you see tons of them on social media today, guys posting their ballots as we say they should. It's a privilege and an honor to be one of the voters, and most guys are pretty good and transparent about it. So more coming up. It's our cleanup segment. Lots to talk about there as we continue on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Hey, you want to do this one? I'll
Mm-mm.
do it. I didn't look at the rundown that closely at the rad reads. But anyway.
I don't
boom.
even know either, actually.
Become a diehard. This is a heck of a way to finish your year and to kick off the new year by from day one of 2026 being able to read all of our stuff, right? Everything we write, especially in particular, the things that go behind the paywall. This story for the Hall of Fame, because I want to be transparent, is not behind the paywall. But most of the Ranger stuff, Cowboy stuff, all of our stuff is behind the paywall. And here's the thing: it's $79.99. That's $6.50 a month. You get a free T-shirt, 20% off of the merch after you get the free shirt, 20% off our events, and the assurance that you will be the smartest DFW sports fan in your friend group. So become a diehard today.
Yeah, it'd be a really smart idea. You could get a free T-shirt. We've got a big announcement coming in the new year too. So you'll want to stand by for that. But there's free T-shirts available to any of those of you who become diehard. You get them, you select them, you choose them at store.allcitynetwork.com, where you will find a plethora of merchandise, and it is about to expand once again. Right now, we think there are about 50 T-shirts there. There's about to be more as we get into the new year and have sort of a new fresh coat of paint, if you will. A big announcement coming next Wednesday. So make sure you're by the channel for that day, and make sure you go to store.allcitynetwork.com today to find all the different merchandise we have available. You might have, and I have this one too. I didn't wear it today, and now I'm glad. But you might have wanted one of these hoodies over the last couple of days, and those too available. Store.allcitynetwork.com. Somebody asked earlier in the chat if the Rangers were going to have one of their northern, Nanook of the North kind of road trips at the beginning of the season. How about to start the season in Philadelphia and Baltimore in March?
Oh, man.
They will be in both cities in March. They conclude their 6-game opening road trip in Baltimore on April the 1st. So, yeah, basically the last week, if you will, of March will be spent there, where there could be a snow out.
There could be. However, in Philadelphia, the past, we'll go back to 2020.
Okay.
High temperatures on March 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, 62, 55, 49, 60, 61, and 49.
Okay.
Not bad.
All right.
But yeah, it can snow there, if you haven't heard.
Yeah, it can really snow, but I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that. Don't want.
I mean, it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
I'm already concerned that, Philly, they always open the windows in the press box, at least since I've been there. So hopefully they will close it, but I doubt it. So I'm going to bring a big coat.
Yeah. And Baltimore could be really cold too. Both of them, Baltimore in particular, right by the water. The Philly ballpark isn't, but it is obviously the city is near the water. So you can get some of that wintry effect. So anyway, then beyond that, they do one of the coldest places you can possibly go is Seattle, and the Rangers go to Seattle.
They was
on
going
their
April or
second
early May.
road trip.
Yeah.
Middle of April. Yeah, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. They're at Seattle. So
always not just cold, freezing cold.
yeah, any time in April, Seattle is very, very cold. It's there are some great days in the summertime in Seattle, but even then, the ballpark is pretty cold. And then not until May,
they go to Colorado in early May.
Yeah, they do.
The snow's usually done by then, but I do remember snow on Memorial Day weekend one year. I was in high school, and I think June 3rd is the latest snow I remember in the Denver area. Yeah,
wow.
I think by early to middle May should be all right.
Yeah, and that's middle May. That's 18, 19, and 20. So anyway, they'll have their fair share of opportunities anyway early in the season for cold weather. Hopefully they'll be ready for any and all of that. And yeah, hopefully McJower's Seager's hamstring will be okay for all of that. What else do we have in the cleanup segment today? We definitely wanted to get to the fact that the Angels did sign Kirby Yates. That to me, whereas the Rangers took a flyer on him obviously 2 years ago, after another down year in L.A. last year, which I know had to do with injury, but that's a real flyer to me to sign Kirby now 2 years later into his life and career.
Yeah, especially after last year. But I he lives in San Diego, I think, maybe Orange County. So it makes a lot of sense. And I would be willing to bet that Mike Maddox had a hand in this one. Don't know that for sure. I could text him, I guess, but willing to bet that the Mike Maddox factor was factored into Kirby's decision.
Point. Yeah, pretty good point. So, and somebody said in the chat, and I know that the Angels and Artie Moreno have been talking, and of course, our boy, which Manazian's there, Perry.
Perry
Manazian. They've been talking about this big restructure of the Anthony Rendon final year of the contract. I don't know if that was necessarily done. I don't think so. I mean, as a player, I'm not taking it, right? This is supposed to be guaranteed money. I'm not, doing an early retirement or anything like that. But we'll be checking on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a little more club friendly, but I don't think he's walking away with only $300,000,
a couple million. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that with the as I don't know, much of a jerk as he seemed to be, I don't think doing the right thing would be just walking away from the money.
High on his list of doing the right thing. So anyway, Dodgers traded Estuary Ruiz to the Marlins, and they get back a prospect called Adriano Marrero. And it's interesting. I mean, again, how many sort of just extra pieces, support players can the Dodgers keep, right? I mean, Ruiz provided something for them in speed, right? Great for pinch running.
He was in the minors most of the year. And, he had his great rookie year with the A's where he stole almost 50 bases, I believe, and was one of the top vote getters and rookie of the year. Mm-hmm. He was awful defensively, and I really enjoy bad outfield play, so he was right at the top of my list. But I'm not sure what it is there with him, but he has a couple of tools that people value, and might be able to help.
Yeah, and if you use a player, if you are able to use a player like that correctly, right? I mean, then that is super valuable. But again, I do think it's more valuable for a team really like the Dodgers, who might just need that in the postseason in particular, as opposed to a team that's still trying to kind of build back up like the Miami Marlins. But anyway, that trade happened. So the Red Sox have hired a new assistant. They have hired an assistant scientist, Jeff. And Brent here is very excited about being a Boston Red Sox assistant baseball scientist, and it appears he comes from Driveline, where he's been there for the past few months, and he got to work with a lot of people there. We have scientists in the front office now.
I'd like to know what field of science. Is it all of them? Does he have to teach biology and 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 chemistry?
Certainly physics and
physics. I'm sure is at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's smarter than the both of us. And,
of course.
Look like him, judging by his little avatar, that he played some ball. So it's exciting. Great for him. It is probably not a very high paying job, I would assume.
No, I would not think so at the beginning. But again, it's guys like him, though, that depending on how smart he is, right? Yeah. The next thing you know, you're climbing the ranks and you're a GM.
You'll probably be in the dungeon for 9 months a year.
Yeah,
where they don't let him see the sunlight or talk to anybody who's not with the organization.
Right. Yeah. And psychology, you're right, Gallagher Champ, is a science. So maybe it's a psychology thing. But yes, I mean, who would have ever thought that the kid who was really good in science, right? Yeah. Most of the kids that were really good in science at my school were not anybody you would think would work for a baseball organization, right? And there he is, the science nerd is in there, and good for him. Like you say, I mean, look, we speak from experience. If you get to work sort of in this field, it's good. You got life beat, right?
That's awesome.
I mean, it's
good for him. I hope it's
good for you.
Off.
And I'm really.
I hope by next year he's the top head scientist.
Maybe he is the chief scientist next year.
Yeah, chief. That sounds better.
With a beaker, he'll have a beaker in one hand and what are those other things called that you mix up your potions in, and a white lab coat and
test tube.
Yeah. Oh, and a test tube and a beaker. That's right. Yeah. So
maybe a Bunsen burner.
Yeah, you got to keep one of those handy. Probably got one. You probably have too. You don't need to hook up to gas right anymore for a Bunsen burner. There's got to be a little portable Bunsen burner you have.
Just a lighter, maybe.
Yeah. True. Or you'll have one of those little, like the chefs all use. Yeah, chefs all use one of those little fire guns. So anyway, good for Brent. Tatsuya, am I? We don't know how to say either one of his names. He apparently has not had a lot of concrete offers yet, Jeff.
Yeah, I think he and Otsuka or
Okamoto.
Dang it.
Okamoto.
I think he's at they're
into LA.
Last story I saw is they're both in LA meeting with teams and having a good time, or not having a good time. But I mean, EMI is Friday, right?
Yeah, and I wonder if his comment about the Dodgers backfired. Right? I mean, I don't know if other teams would necessarily hold it against him. But he's like, I don't want to play for the Dodgers. I want to beat the Dodgers.
Well, that's cool. I'm all right with that.
I'm not mad at it either. Yeah. I kind of liked it. But I don't know. I mean,
if you go to the Dodgers and you're a pitcher, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So sorry, BC, if you're still around. Let's maybe he wants to go someplace where they're the cutting edge of orthopedic medicine and pitcher health care.
Apparently you got to go to the Red Sox then, because they've got a scientist. They've got two scientists.
That's a good point.
A scientist and an assistant scientist.
I saw that the White Sox are involved on.
Yeah, I think they're in on
Imai. So anyway,
Tatsuya,
the pitcher from Japan, and that'd be interesting. Kind of because they kind of snuck in under the radar at the last minute. On Murakami. So maybe they're trying to do run it back on Imai, and this is one. If it's not costing a lot, I'm telling you, the Rangers need to get in on it.
I would 100% agree. I hope that's the. I hope that is the emergency pod we're doing over the course of the next 40 hours.
That'd be cool.
6 hours.
I'll try to keep my calendar open for Friday.
Wait, we got to show Friday.
We got to show Friday.
Yeah, we got to show Friday. So, it's actually, if it's going to happen, it probably just happens Friday. So,
but it might happen after the show.
Yeah. And happy birthday to Sandy Koufax, 90 years old today. Sandy, who famously said, I became a good pitcher when I stopped trying to make them miss the ball and started trying to make them hit it.
Yeah, and you look at the guy, you see him at the ball games and all this stuff. Looks fantastic.
He does.
Unbelievable. My favorite Koufax story is that one of the mid-'70s Dodgers World Series appearances. They're getting ready for the game, and Sandy's throwing batting practice, and nobody's hitting Sandy because at whatever age he was at the time, his fastball still had some serious cut on it, and so they had to go get him and take him out, so that these guys would start hitting the ball.
They needed practice. Sandy, they've got to hit the ball.
Well, he was so fantastic in the postseason. Maybe he just couldn't help himself.
Couldn't help himself. He won 3 Cy Youngs.
His career arc is pretty interesting because 55. He was only 19.
Right.
He went to the University of Cincinnati on a partial basketball scholarship. That's another fun fact about Sandy. But it wasn't until really 60, or 60.
Through 66.
61, his ERA was still above 3, but then 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, just 5 unfathomably terrific seasons. And that's kind of he didn't pitch very long.
No.
But when he pitched, it's, we're talking historically great. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. And he got out of the game just because he was fearful that he might get an injury.
Arthritis in his elbow, I think it set in.
Basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, happy birthday to Sandy Koufax. Happy New Year to you, unless we see you between now and New Year's when we'll say it again if the Rangers do something big. But we really appreciate all of you hanging out with us. We ask you to tell more of your baseball friends about us. Our show's really grown this year, and it's because of you, and we thank you. And we look forward to making it even better with you and us, and, of course, the Queen, Kat, in 2026. We'll see you then on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.